I think I'm live. I'm not sure. I'm waiting to see what my screen is going to show me. And it says that I'm live right now. All right, so it's been a bit of time since I did my last live, and I didn't want to keep you guys from learning more to kind of support yourselves no matter where you are currently. So my name is Ade Toro Majek. I am the founder and creator of the In Her Experience. So what I do on these lives is that I try to come and bring you some information, some insight, and some tools to kind of put into practice in your life as far as connecting much more with yourself. So I wanted to come and give you guys a wellness video. As you know, over here on the Inner Experience, it's Wellness Wednesdays, or we can also say Self-Care Wednesdays. So today's topic is gearing on focusing on your diet and the relationship you have with food. So I wanted to talk about how moving to another country totally changed my entire way of eating. And yeah, so today's video is going to be kind of like a story time. So, okay, sorry, I was reading something. So I got distracted there for a minute. Okay, so back in 2008, I was living in Philadelphia and I was working as a social worker at this company that I don't think exists any longer. So I'm trying to get comfortable and good lighting. Okay, so when I was at this company, I was unhappy with things that were going on in my life. At this time, there was a guy that I was dating, and we were going through some things, and it just wasn't healthy, and it wasn't a good place for me to be in. So I thought, what could I do to change the way that I'm showing up? Like, what could I do to change what's going on in my life right now? So at the time, like, we ended our relationship, or whatever you would call what we were. It wasn't a relationship, that's for sure. So I guess we were just talking, if you want to say that way. But anyway, get back to the story. So yeah, so I was at work. I was miserable at work. I was miserable with my love life. I was just miserable, not feeling fulfilled or happy with the way things were. And I decided, okay, this world is so big. There's so much more out there to explore for myself. And one thing that I really loved was to be able to just be of service. Like, I wanted to go to another place, a different country, a different culture, to just see what it was like and to experience life in a whole new way, and offer my service to mankind, essentially offer myself to mankind, and just do more with my life than what I was doing at the time. At least that's what I thought. So anyway, I come across this little ad on Facebook that says travel and teach abroad. And I'm like, oh wow, you could get paid to travel and teach. So I looked at this ad, filled out the application, and then I waited to hear a response. And I didn't think much of it. So a few days goes by, or a couple of days, and I get a response. And they say, hey, there's this position in South Korea that we would like to hire you for. And I went through the interview process and I passed it, and they wanted to hire me for a teaching position in South Korea. So I talked it over with family at that time, and I thought this would be a really good opportunity for me to go overseas, travel abroad, see a different way of life, and make money at the same time. So I hopped on the opportunity to move overseas. And mind you, even that process is a whole nother story because I went through so much just to finally step foot into South Korea. So, okay. So I moved to South Korea and it was so freaking awesome. I had a great time. And this is where my journey with food kind of shifted from eating really kind of sugary foods and starchy foods and um, meat-based diet to eating plant-based. And I guess you would still say that I'm a meat eater because I'm not a okay, I can't say I'm a meat eater. So basically what I'm trying to say is that I'm pescatarian. So I transitioned my diet from what it was to this plant-based and seafood-based and organic and all natural. So while I was living in Korea, I would come across all of these different kinds of foods that were, plant-based and just very healthy and very flavorful and very nutritious. And I remember there was a time that I went to dinner with my boss, and it was a huge spread of food. And there are so many different kinds of foods to try. I even tried at this time I was transitioning, or I really wasn't transitioning. It was more like I was learning what foods made me feel really good and what foods didn't make me feel really good. So I even tried I ate raw um grounded beef. And that tasted so disgusting. I couldn't even swallow it. I had to like spit it back out into a napkin because it didn't feel like it was something that I was palatable, something that I could ingest. So yeah. So that was an experience. But basically a lot of the foods that are in Korea are plant-based foods that are all natural, foods that are fresh, foods from the sea. A lot of they offer different varieties of seafood, but a lot of it is based on the, I guess, on the agriculture of the land, which is leaves and grains and obviously like they have meat, um but they don't serve meat the same way that we eat meat as Americans in America. They serve meat as light portions, not thick, heavy portions of meat. So while I was in Korea, my diet changed, my lifestyle changed, the way that I was choosing my foods changed. So during this time, I explored, I tried new things. I listened to what my body told me that it liked and what my body told me that it didn't like. And I noticed that a lot of my foods, or a lot of the foods that I was eating, a lot of my meals had some sort of plant or some sort of seafood. So I was really plant-based and seafood-based most of the times. And I really paid attention to the way that my body was like feeling at the time. Because before I left, I felt there were times that I felt very tired and I felt very lethargic while I was having the diet that I was on in America, which is very starchy and very sugary. Moved to South Korea, my body felt so much more energetic and so much more just healthier. You know how you can feel food in your body after it's gone through the process of digestion, and just even in the process of digestion, like I didn't feel slow. Like when food is processing through my body, sometimes I feel tired and I feel slow, like I don't want to do anything, or like I just feel really lethargic. I can't explain it, but hopefully you get what I mean. Um, so anyway, these are the things that I noticed about my body. And the reason why I'm saying this is that, so fast forward to a year from the time that I moved to Korea. So now we're in 2009. I'm back in America and I'm back to eating the regular foods that I had before I left. So these kind of foods were back to meat based, starch based, gluten based types of foods that really had a lot of carbs and a lot of starch and a lot of sugars. So I'm eating back to like the American way of life that I was used to, and I get sick. And this happened within, I want to say, a month to 2 months of me coming back. No, maybe longer, maybe 3 months within the time I moved back to America from South Korea. I got sick. And I got sick with my condition. It's hereditary sickle cell anemia. I had a crisis. Um, so I end up in the hospital for about, I want to say, a week to a week and a half with a full-blown crisis. I didn't think much of it because I was just like, this is just the way life is. This is what happens to me. Um, so yeah. But then I started noticing, like, I never once got sick with a crisis when I was in South Korea. And I'm like, I wonder why. I wonder why I didn't get sick. And I felt like it had something to do with the way I was eating. So once I got out of the hospital, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna implement the things that I took on while I was living in South Korea. I'm gonna implement these types of foods back into my diet. They were rich and dense with a ton of like just nutrients. So I stopped eating meat and I adopted eating seafood. I stopped eating white rice, white starch based rice, and or parboiled rice, or however you want to say it, and I took on eating brown rice. I stopped eating, I don't know. At that time, it was a struggle to stop eating sugar, but I lessened my sugar intake. Um, but yeah, but the two main things and I started implementing more fruits, more vegetables, and more more whole foods, like more organic foods, more um, whole grains is what I started implementing and adopting once I got back to America. So, over the years, and this was back in 2009, we're in 2020. So, over the years, I've had dips and dives along the way. So, I would dip and dive back and forth, taking out things, putting things back, trying different methods to eating at this time. So I would also, like, if my body just felt really tired, I would implement not meat and not chicken because I couldn't I didn't feel alive when I was eating those foods. So I would try turkey-based bacon or turkey-based meat. And as those are fine for me, but as time progressed, I also took that out of my diet and stayed mainly with fish. So salmon, shrimp, things of that sort, tuna. These were the types of foods that I loved and enjoyed eating, or the types of meat products that I loved eating. So I don't claim to be like 100% vegan. I'm not claiming that. And I don't claim to be 100% vegetarian. I'm not claiming that either. Um, but I do claim that I am all three: vegan, vegetarian, and pescatarian. I say pescatarian because that's the main food, the main animal-based food that I eat. Along with that, I also implement eggs into my diet. So to kind of wrap this up and but not fully wrap this up, continue talking about just how I noticed these foods started affecting my body in different ways. So when I was eating sugary foods and starch-based foods, like starch-based pasta, starch-based bread, anything with gluten and starch and flour in it, I just wasn't um, I wasn't healthy. I felt very tired, which I'm repeating tons of times, but it didn't make me feel energetic. Like I didn't have energy after eating these foods. And so when I noticed that these types of foods were affecting me, I would take them out of my diet and replace it with something else. So as time has passed, I also noticed my health. I stopped having major episodes with my health as far as like having to be admitted into the hospital. I haven't been admitted into a hospital in, I want to say, okay, I've been to the hospital and I've had crises, but these types are kind of um like short episodes, so no more than a day. Like I would go in and get the medication that I needed to take care of a pain that I couldn't take care of on my own. But I wasn't in a hospital for like 2 weeks at a time trying to um, take care of an episode that would cause me fatigue, that would cause me tremendous amount of pain, and that would cause me to have like a infusion, like a blood infusion. Because when my episodes of sickle cell anemia, if you don't know, it's a blood disease, and It's a disease that is inherited by your parents because they carry both traits, and then it makes the disease, which is what I have. So when you get to a point where you need a blood transfusion, that's because you are low in the hemoglobin that your body needs to carry oxygen. And I'm very sure that if you are not eating foods rich in um, chlorophyll or if you're not eating foods rich in different vitamins and minerals, um, your body will most I'm trying to figure out how to say this. Your body will tend to go into crisis easier because your blood has to work twice as hard to clean out the toxins in your blood. Yeah. So yes. So when I noticed I was eating more leafy greens, implementing more vegetables and more fruits into my diet, I noticed a very significant decrease in my hospital time in the ER or in the hospital, period. Okay. So you get the point. So from switching over to a non-gluten diet or very low in gluten and a high intake of leafy greens and vegetables and fruits, it has done significant wonders for my health, for my vitality, and for my spirit. Along the way, like over tremendous amounts of years, I have played around with what benefits who I am as far as what I want to eat. Before, I didn't used to eat organic. Now that's mainly what I purchase in my produce is organic foods. I implement nuts and seeds into my diet. I implement supplements, vitamins. All of these things have helped me to really take um, take my food, my eating lifestyle into a whole new direction. And for my Wellness Wednesdays, sorry, so for my Wellness Wednesday or Self Care Wednesday, I want you to really take a look at what you could kind of test your body with on seeing how it reacts with you. Because that's a lot of what I did for myself in order to get to a place where I felt like these are the types of foods that I want to eat. These are the types of things that I want in my life. These are the types of things that I want to make a habit for myself. So, yeah. So I think from that time up until now, which is about, I want to say 10 years, maybe 11 years of kind of testing things out in my own body, just trying things just to try them to see if I like the taste. Going through some really hard times with myself in my body, not liking the way that I felt. Um, so also there's like two more things that I want to mention. So recently I've been dealing with candida in the gut, and that has also been another transition and another like deeper dive into cutting a lot of things out of my diet again. So no gluten, implementing nuts and seeds, implementing um, other things that I can't think of right now, but having to go on a candida based diet has had an even greater effect on my body, um, for the good, but also for the bad, because I lost a lot of weight very severely. Um, but I'm gaining the option through cutting a lot out of my body, a lot of sugars out of my body, um, to be able to take on take it on when I'm ready to, basically. So take it back on, and not sugars, but like take back in grains. So that's the other thing that I was thinking of, grains. So I had to cut out grains, had to cut out um gluten, had to cut out starch, had to cut out sugar, just so I could heal my gut and implement seeds and nuts and still eat leafy greens. And taking this out, one thing I would mention is that you still need your fats, or your fats. So, sorry, my nose is itchy. So one thing that I had to make my a base for some of the foods that I eat. Mind you, I don't eat like a typical American. I eat African based because I'm African, and my cultural food, or my traditional foods, are very kind of soup based. Um, so what I would use for a substitute, because we eat a lot of rice in our diet, I would use eggs as a substitute instead of eating rice. But I still love my rice. I just have to find different alternatives, and quinoa has been a great alternative to eating rice. Um, so yeah, so these are the things that really has transitioned my diet from a place of having starchy, sugary foods and meat based to more plant based foods, more organic, more healthy, more all natural foods, that has really impacted the health of this Black body. And we all know that Black people suffer the most with their health when it comes to diabetes, cholesterol, and heart-based diseases, and blood-based as well. I'm going to include my condition, sickle cell anemia, with that. And honestly, it's a lot of education. It's a lot of educating yourself. It's a lot about knowing about your body, what you think works with it, what you think doesn't work with it. So this is what I would offer you, is to kind of see what your relationship with food is like. And for me, my relationship with food has been a very like dramatic one, to be honest with you. Like, so yeah. Um, so yeah, look at your relationship with food. Look at what it is that you want to change within your eating habits for to better your health. So for the betterment of your health, not to compare yourself to me, or not to compare yourself to anyone else, but only to see where you can take your lifestyle into a whole new direction. So for me, it was travel. Travel opens you up to so many different ways of life, and so many styles of eating and nutrition, and culture and tradition. And for you, it might not be travel. It could just be inspirational. Hopefully, something that I've said or done in this video has helped you to kind of take a second look at who you're being with yourself when it comes to food, who you're being with yourself when it comes to what you think about the way you eat, or what you think about yourself in general. Like, where are some areas in your life that you can show up for yourself in? So this is the end of my life. This was the topic for Wellness Wednesdays at the In Her Experience. So I hope I was able to provide you with some great information and a bit of insight into my experience and my journey with eating the way that I eat. So I will talk to you soon. It's great being with you here. Okay. Bye. Oh, also, if you can still hear me, if you still hear me and see me, so in the comments section, I want you to sort of just give me some take backs from this video. Give me what you took out of this video. If you could write a comment about what you got from this video and what you could do to start doing an inventory about how you eat. Not only about how you eat, but like what you're eating and how it makes you feel. Not only that, just comment, share, subscribe, and follow me. Like this page. Let me know what your thoughts are on how your journey with food has been. Okay, so my name is Ade Turmajek. I am the owner and founder of the Inner Experience, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.